still hear the sound. That ripping snap. The second Karen grabbed my prosthetic arm and yanked it clean off in front of everyone. It was like the world froze. Can you imagine the silence that followed? People gasping. My jaw dropping. My brain stuttering. Did this woman just... what? She had the audacity to look disgusted. Like I was the problem. Like my prosthetic was some kind of monster appendage designed to scare suburban moms in yoga pants. It's horrifying. She shrieked, clutching my arm like it was a weapon. You can't just walk around like this. Traumatizes kids. I was trembling, not from shame, but rage. My fists curled. My breath caught, and the only thought screaming in my head was, you don't get to do this. Not to me. Not today. It all started with the HOA's so-called family-friendly policy. They'd been pushing new community comfort guidelines, stuff like no loud lawn equipment before 9 a.m. and decorations must not display graphic imagery. Okay, fine. But then Karen, the self-proclaimed morality enforcer of the neighborhood, decided my prosthetic arm counted as graphic. Yes, my medical prosthetic. The one that cost more than her entire SUV. I lost my arm years ago in an accident at work. I rebuilt my life with grit, rehab, and stubbornness. That prosthetic wasn't just plastic and metal. It was me, a symbol of survival. Every click, every whir, every polished chrome plate told my story. And here she was, treating it like a Halloween prank gone wrong. Karen first started with whispers. The looks, pulling her son closer whenever I passed. Then came the homeowners association emails. Passive-aggressive at first. Perhaps you could wear long sleeves. Some residents have expressed discomfort. Discomfort. Because my body doesn't fit their cookie-cutter suburb mold. I ignored it. Until that day at the pool. The sun was blazing. Kids were splashing. Music floated in the air. I was laughing with my neighbor Mike, dipping my feet in the water, enjoying one rare peaceful Saturday. My prosthetic glinted in the sunlight, and yeah, I was proud. Then Karen stormed up. She didn't ask. She didn't whisper. She lunged. With one vicious tug, she ripped my prosthetic off my shoulder like it was some detachable toy. The joint clicked. The strap snapped, and suddenly, my arm was dangling in her hands. The whole poolside froze. Her shrill voice cracked the air. Look at this thing. It's disturbing. How dare you bring this around children? I could feel my chest tighten. My heart hammered. Kids stared, wide-eyed. Adults exchanged horrified glances. And Karen, she was shaking the prosthetic like some grotesque exhibit, as if proving a point. That's when Mike snapped. Are you insane? His voice thundered. That's his arm. Karen, give it back. But she didn't. Oh no. She doubled down. She sneered at me, pointing with the prosthetic like it was evidence in a trial. He shouldn't be allowed at the pool with this contraption. It's upsetting my son. Her son, by the way, wasn't even looking. He was too busy cannonballing into the deep end. The trauma she kept invoking. Pure invention. I finally found my voice. My throat raw. My anger shaking. Karen, put my arm down. Now. She smirked. Maybe the homeowners association should confiscate it. For safety. That was it. That's when the switch flipped. You ever feel the kind of rage that makes your hands tremble? Your vision sharpen, like you could hear the blood rushing in your ears. I stood, shoulder bare, scars exposed, people staring. And instead of shrinking, instead of hiding, I raised my voice so loud the lifeguard flinched. Everybody here, listen up. Karen thinks my disability is offensive. She thinks my body is something to hide. You want to know what's really offensive? That she thinks she can rip the arm off a disabled veteran and treat it like garbage. Gasped. Murmurs. Phones came out. Recording. Karen froze. Suddenly realizing she wasn't the hero in this scene, Mike stepped forward. Give him his arm back, or I'm calling the cops. Now here's the twist she didn't see coming. My prosthetic. It's not just any prosthetic. It's a custom-built, military-grade design. Because after losing my arm, I volunteered in veteran support programs that partnered with engineers. They gave me a prototype model, sleek and cutting-edge. It was practically a piece of tech art. Karen, still clutching it, looked ridiculous, like some wannabe villain holding Iron Man's glove. And guess what? People online knew it. Because by the time she realized she was being filmed, the clip had already gone viral. Oh my God, is that the homeowners association lady? Someone whispered behind me, she's gonna get roasted. And roasted she did. The fallout came fast. Police were called. By the lifeguard. Karen was forced to hand over my arm. But not before fumbling and dropping it onto the concrete. The loud clunk echoed and my heart sank. Thankfully, no permanent damage. But still, the disrespect. When the officers arrived, she tried to spin it. I was protecting children. This device is unsafe. One cop looked at her. Deadpan. Ma'am, it's a prosthetic arm. The other officer sighed. Glanced at me. Do you want to press charges for assault? Karen's face drained of color. I didn't answer right away. I let her squirm. Eyes darting. Lips trembling. For once, the suburban queen had no words. The homeowners association emergency meeting that week was chaos. Residents screaming. Fingers pointing. Phones waving with the viral clip. Karen tried to defend herself. Tried to twist it into a misunderstanding. But nobody bought it. Misunderstanding. Mike bellowed. You ripped a man's arm off in front of our kids. Parents chimed in. You traumatized our children by screaming and attacking him. And the cherry on top. The Homeowners Association president announced Karen was being removed from the board effective immediately. Your actions don't reflect the values of this community, he said coldly. You've embarrassed us all. Her empire crumbled in one night. But karma wasn't done. A week later, Karen's precious SUV was egged and toilet papered. No one confessed. But let's just say the neighborhood kids had plenty of motivation. Parents stopped inviting her son to playdates. She became a pariah overnight. And every time she stepped outside, whispers followed her. And me. Something shifted. People stopped looking at me like the guy with the arm. Instead, they saw me. Neighbors dropped by with food. Parents asked me to talk to their kids about resilience. About veterans. About strength. The same arm she tried to shame me for. It became the centerpiece of community pride. Still, I'll never forget the way she looked at me that day. Like I was less than human. That image lingers. Sometimes late at night. When I take the prosthetic off and lay it gently on the nightstand, I hear her shrill voice echoing. It's horrifying. But then I remind myself. Her words say nothing about me. They reveal everything about her. Her fear. Her ignorance. Her cruelty. And in the end, that cruelty came back to bite her harder than she ever imagined. Because when you rip off a man's arm and try to rip away his dignity, you're not exposing him. You're exposing yourself. And the whole world saw it. So tell me, what do you think? Was karma too soft on Karen? Or did she finally get what she deserved? Thank you for listening, and if you want more stories like this, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel for the next unbelievable Homeowners Association showdown. The scream cut through the summer air like glass shattering. What do you mean the pool lift isn't working? My neighbor, an Iraq veteran named Marcus, sat on the edge of the community pool, his arms shaking as he tried to hold his balance. And then came the slow gasp from everyone around. Because right there, bolted into the concrete, the handicap lift chair was gone. Just gone. My stomach dropped. The HOA president, our very own self-crowned protector of community standards. A woman we all called Karen was standing near the pool fence, arms crossed smugly, like she'd just done everyone a favor. That eyesore was ruining the aesthetic, she said, voice dripping with superiority. Nobody needs it anyway. This is a family pool, not a rehab center. People froze. You could feel the tension in the air, the heat of the sun suddenly boiling into anger. Marcus blinked hard, his jaw tightening. The guy fought in combat, came home injured, and the one thing that allowed him freedom in summer, to roll into the pool, cool off and feel human again, was ripped away because Karen didn't like how it looked. I couldn't stop myself. You disabled a federally mandated accessibility device. My voice cracked with outrage. She actually smirked. Yes, she said proudly. And I'll do it again. You people need to learn this neighborhood has standards. It's not my fault some of you don't fit. Gasped. A child whimpered. Even the lifeguard dropped his whistle like he couldn't believe what he'd heard. I swear, for a moment, I could hear my heartbeat in my ears. Boom, boom, boom. That's when Marcus' wheelchair rocked slightly. He caught himself with one arm. But his eyes, oh God, his eyes went cold. Lady, he said slowly, you have no idea what you just did. Karen shrugged, brushing off the weight of his words like dust off her sweater. She turned toward her clipboard, scribbling something, like she was queen of the pool. And then, out of nowhere, another voice cut through the air. Deep, sharp, official. Ma'am, would you like to repeat that, for the state? Everyone turned. Standing at the gate was a man in a gray polo, laminated ID swinging from his neck. State seal. Inspector. His timing. Uncanny. He had just walked in for a surprise audit, apparently scheduled months ago but delayed. Nobody knew he was coming. Karen stiffened, her face drained of color. Oh. This isn't what it looks like. The inspector raised an eyebrow. What it looks like is a blatant violation of ADA law. Removing accessibility equipment is a direct breach of state and federal regulations. His voice got sharper. That is punishable by severe fines and, in some cases, criminal negligence. Whispers spread like wildfire. A mother clutched her child closer. Someone muttered, "She's done for." Karen stammered. She laughed nervously, tried to recover. No, you don't understand. The board agreed. It was unanimous. That ugly lift was lowering property values. Nobody even used it. That was when Marcus wheeled forward, the squeak of his chair echoing in the stunned silence. His voice trembled, but not with fear, with fury. Nobody used it because people like you made them feel like garbage for needing it. Do you know what it takes for me to even get the courage to come out here? And you just stole it. You stole my freedom, because you didn't like the way it looked. For a heartbeat, all you could hear was the cicadas in the trees, buzzing angrily like the whole world was siding against her. Karen's lips pursed. She opened her mouth, but the inspector raised a hand. Don't even try. You've admitted it in front of multiple witnesses. I'll be issuing citations immediately. And depending on the review board's findings, you could be looking at civil suits and loss of HOA authority. Oh my God, someone whispered. And then, like fate wanted to hammer the nail in, an elderly woman with a cane shuffled forward. Mrs. Delgado. Quiet, sweet, barely ever said a word. But her voice cracked like a whip. She told me last month I was too old to swim here. Said the pool was for younger families. I thought maybe I was imagining the cruelty. Her eyes burned with unshed tears. But now everyone sees. Karen spun around, desperate, pointing at me. This is slander. They're all ganging up. You're all making me look like a villain. Cut her off. Karen, you don't need any help looking like a villain. You're doing it all on your own. The inspector began writing. Papers. Photos. Witnesses. He was collecting everything like a detective. Karen tried to grab the clipboard. He stepped back sharply. Voice iron. Touch state property and I'll add obstruction to your record. She froze. Her nails dug into her palms. For the first time, I saw it. The crack in her armor. The self-righteous queen had just realized her castle was built on sand. But oh, the day wasn't done serving her karma. Because just as she tried to storm off, muttering about getting her lawyer, a group of teenagers at the far end of the pool shouted, "Check the dumpster." Heads turned. A couple of them had been sneaking sodas and hanging out near the trash area, and in that exact moment, they'd spotted something strange. The metallic glint of pool equipment sticking out of the dumpster's edge. No. Wait. We rushed over. Half the neighborhood trailing behind like it was a parade of justice. And there it was. Clear as day. The entire pool lift chair. Dismantled. Bolts tossed in a separate bag. Karen gasped. That's not mine. But the teens had already pulled out their phones. Video rolling. Her HOA-issued gloves were right there in the dumpster too, stained with grease from where she'd done the dirty work. The inspector actually laughed. Short, disbelieving, but amused. Well, this makes my job easy. He snapped photos, tagged evidence, documented everything. Karen tried one last time. I did it for the community. Don't you understand? It was ugly. It was ruining our image. The inspector's voice turned ice. Your image just cost this HOA tens of thousands in penalties. And you personally, you're liable. The law doesn't care about your opinion of aesthetics. It cares about equal access. And you, ma'am, just trampled it. Cheers erupted. Yes, actual cheers. Some clapped. Some laughed. Some shook their heads in disbelief. Marcus sat straighter in his chair, exhaling deeply, like years of humiliation had just lifted off his chest. Karen, meanwhile, broke down in furious sputters. You can't do this to me. I am the HOA. But her voice cracked. No one believed her anymore. Not even the few board members who used to back her up. They stepped back, eyes wide, like they wanted no part of the sinking ship. By the time the inspector packed up, the sun had started dipping low, throwing long shadows across the pool deck. It felt cinematic, almost unreal, like the final act of a courtroom drama playing out in real life. Karen stood alone by the fence, shoulders shaking, and Marcus, he wheeled forward to the edge of the pool, looked back at her one last time and said quietly, but firmly, "You tried to take away my dignity. Instead, you lost yours." The splash of water as he slid from his chair into the pool was the sweetest sound I'd ever heard. The twist. Word spread fast. Local news picked it up. HOA Karen wasn't just fined. She was personally named in a lawsuit by multiple residents, including veterans and seniors she had harassed for years. Within weeks, she wasn't just removed as president. She was banned from the board entirely. And for the first time in a long time, our community actually felt like a community again. Because justice had a way of arriving at the exact right moment. Sometimes wearing a state badge. Sometimes holding a clipboard. But always louder than the cruelty trying to silence it. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this intense HOA karma story and want more battles of justice, outrage, and sweet revenge, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel where the next lawsuit story is coming soon. She called 911 on my backyard birthday party before the first beat even dropped. Claimed disturbance of the peace, unauthorized gathering, and something ridiculous like suspicion of drug use. But Karen had no idea her own son was our DJ and her sister was the one who planned the whole event. Started around noon, all sunshine and grilled ribs. The suburbs were buzzing with cicadas and laughter. And I swear, for the first time in weeks, everyone just breathed. You know that rare, golden Saturday where nothing feels wrong? Yeah, that was this until she showed up with her ridiculous clipboard and a face so sour it could curdle milk. Karen stormed through the side gate without knocking, like she owned the property. This is an unauthorized event. Where's your permit? She barked, eyes scanning my guests like we were fugitives. I was still holding a plate of brisket. It's a birthday, Karen, not a music festival, I said calmly, though my knuckles whitened around the tongs. She huffed. Noise complaints are piling in. I'll be reporting this to the HOA board. Oh wait, I am the board. Cue the dramatic eye roll from my cousin Lila, who was pouring lemonade like it was moonshine. You need to chill, lady. Karen whipped around, nostrils flaring. Excuse me? And here's the kicker, she hadn't even heard the music yet. Our DJ, masked up behind the decks inside, was still sound-checking. The real party hadn't started. But Karen was already on her phone, muttering about law enforcement and safety violations. I heard her say drugs and nearly choked on my sweet tea. Are you serious? My mom was literally knitting in a lawn chair next to a baby pool filled with Capri Suns. The cops arrived in less than 15 minutes. Blue lights flashing across my string lights, which I had just untangled that morning. Seriously. It took me an hour. 2 officers walked up, already annoyed. You could tell this wasn't their first Karen call of the weekend. Ma'am, we got a noise complaint and reports of possible illegal substances, one officer said as he adjusted his belt. I raised my eyebrows so high they nearly launched off my face. Illegal substances? We've got jalapeno dip and mango seltzers. Take your pick. Karen folded her arms triumphantly. I warned you. But the officer didn't look at me. He looked past me, toward the deck. Hold up. Is that DJ K. Rush? Everyone turned. Music started to pulse low at first, then rising like a heartbeat. The DJ pulled off his mask with a wink. Yep, her son. Full tattoo sleeves, silver chains, and that stupid grin he always had in high school. Tyler. Freaking. Rushman. Karen's pride and joy until now. Her face drained of color. Tyler. What are you doing here? He cued the next beat without missing a step. Getting paid, Mom. You said you were out of town. A visible tremor went through her spine. You lied to me. He smirked. Guess we both lie now, huh? You could hear the gasp ripple through the backyard. And then bam. Like divine punishment with party lights, the host stepped onto the patio. Clad in a floral maxi dress and a sun hat bigger than her ego. Karen's estranged sister, Doreen. Doreen waved dramatically. Hello everyone. Hope you're loving the party I planned. And thank you, Karen, for calling the police to your own son's gig. That's one way to show support. Karen looked like she was about to faint. You forged the rental request form? Doreen grinned. Nope. I'm the property owner. I sublet it to Jace for the month, to get away from you. I nearly dropped my brisket. Wait, what? That's why the leaseholder's name wasn't familiar. Doreen owned the house across the cul-de-sac and was letting me use it while my place got fumigated. But I didn't know they were sisters. Oh, the tangled web of petty suburbia. Karen sputtered. This is fraud. You went behind my back. Fraud. Doreen tilted her head. Is that what you call it now, after you signed our late mother's will behind my back and kept the lake house? Another collective gasp. Even the cop raised an eyebrow. You think I forgot that? Doreen continued, her voice calm but venomous. You forged Mom's signature. I've got the forensic analyst's report. Wanna see it? Karen turned red, then white, then some shade of, I just pooped my HOA khakis. And that's when the real twist dropped. One of the officers stepped aside to answer his radio, then returned with a strange look. Ma'am, he said to Karen, there's actually an active lawsuit in your name filed this week, tied to property inheritance fraud. You'll need to come with us for a few questions. The whole backyard fell silent except for the beat still pulsing behind us. Karen's voice cracked. You can't be serious. The officer gestured toward his cruiser. Let's sort this out downtown. The woman who had barged into our yard like a one-woman HOA hurricane now stood motionless, lips parted, eyes hollow. But I'm the one who called you, she whispered. And now someone else is calling you out, Doreen said, sipping her punch like it was tea at a royal scandal. Tyler packed up his DJ gear, avoiding his mother's eyes. I'll get a ride home. You good, Jace? I nodded, still stunned. Dude, did you know any of this? He shook his head. Man, I just wanted to drop bass, not bombs. And just like that, Karen was escorted out of her own mess. No grand exit, no dramatic monologue, just the low hum of justice rolling down suburban streets. When the cops left, the music returned. Louder, freer. Laughter erupted like steam after a storm. People danced again. Doreen winked at me, holding her glass high. Nothing like a little lawsuit to clear the air, huh? And I swear, somewhere between the salsa dip and the sparklers, I finally exhaled. The very next week, a notice from the county courthouse was posted on the HOA bulletin board. Turns out Doreen had finally filed her long-threatened lawsuit against Karen for willful fraud and inheritance forgery. And thanks to the forensic report she mentioned at the party, the judge fast-tracked the case for review. You should have seen the look on Karen's face when the process server handed her those papers right in front of the community gym. Instant karma, public edition. Rumors spread faster than pool chlorine in July. Residents who once tiptoed around Karen started openly questioning her decisions. People dug through past HOA decisions she'd signed off on and found some very sketchy inconsistencies. The gardening budget? Off by $12,000. Security camera invoices? Paid twice.
HOA fines.
Handwritten and never logged. Yeah, the same woman who called 911 over a party was about to get grilled for embezzlement and fraud in broad daylight. Doreen didn't stop there. She ran for HOA president at the emergency meeting a month later and won. Unanimously. I guess throwing a killer party and exposing family-level corruption goes a long way in the suburbs. As for Tyler, he started his own mobile DJ company Suburb Dropand, got 3 new gigs just from that party alone. One of them was hosted at the community clubhouse which Doreen now manages. Karen? She resigned from the HOA after the first court hearing. Not that she had much choice, the judge issued a preliminary ruling freezing her access to HOA funds and flagged several documents as likely forged. She now keeps a very low profile, mostly watering her plants at night and pretending not to exist. And me? I still laugh every time I see her old clipboard nailed to the HOA corkboard with a note that reads, "Next time, RSVP especially if your family's planning the party." I never expected a simple birthday barbecue to spark a lawsuit, dethrone a tyrant, and unite a neighborhood, but here we are. Moral of the story? Never swing first when your family's holding the receipts. For more stories where Karens get clapped by karma and lawsuits fly faster than gossip, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. You're not going to want to miss what happened after the court ruling. She accused my wife of endangering children because she taught firearm safety. That's how it started. But by the time it ended, one of the Karen sisters was sobbing in handcuffs, charged with perjury, and the other? She ran straight into federal court without realizing the door locked behind her. I mean, how do you even prepare for that kind of crazy? Let me back up a sec. So my wife, Elena, is a certified instructor. Firearm safety, situational awareness, de-escalation tactics, the kind of stuff that saves lives, especially for women. She teaches from a converted barn on our private land just outside Charleston. Nothing tactical, nothing illegal, nothing flashy, just pure education. No ammo, no live fire. Mostly she trains teachers, nurses, single moms, people who've been through real trauma. It's empowerment, not paranoia. But then the McCarthy sisters moved in across the past Donna and her older sister Karen. Yes, actually her name. Blonde curls, matching tracksuits, driving matching Range Rovers, and a matching superiority complex the size of Texas. They joined the HOA board within 48 hours of closing on their home, and suddenly my wife's peaceful little training space became their #1 priority. We're deeply concerned about the proximity of weaponry to children, Karen told us at the first HOA meeting they hijacked. Her voice was syrupy and sharp at the same time, like poison in a southern drawl. It just seems unsafe. My wife blinked slowly. We're not in the HOA and I don't teach kids.
Donna sniffed.
But children live near here. It's traumatizing. We're filing an injunction. I actually laughed. You're filing what now? And they did. These two maniacs filed a civil complaint with the city claiming my wife was endangering minors, violating zoning laws, and me, personal favorite, spreading fear-based ideology. They served it themselves. On a Sunday, in matching blazers. We weren't worried. I mean, the whole thing was laughable. Elena's been background checked by more agencies than I can count. She's trained law enforcement officers. Her curriculum is recognized by 3 national organizations. Still, we called our lawyer, filed a counter notice, and assumed that'd be the end of it. But then, something didn't sit right. Our lawyer pulled up their complaint and frowned. This affidavit includes sworn testimony from 5 individuals who say they heard live fire from the barn, that Elena yelled at children, that she stores combat weapons in a non-locked shed. My stomach dropped. None of that ever happened. They lied under oath? I asked. He nodded. Worse, they notarized the statement. That's perjury. Felony perjury. And just like that, the game changed. Elena's calm demeanor vanished. She pulled out her old binder from her days as a civilian consultant for the DOJ. If they want to fabricate claims, she said, then I want the judge to hear every damn second of what really happens here. We set up every camera, pulled footage from every class, even tracked attendance logs going back 2 years. Meanwhile, our lawyer subpoenaed the other signatories on the McCarthy sisters' sworn complaint. For backed out immediately. But the 5th, though, bless her, was their cousin Marcia, who didn't know she was listed at all. Twist number 1. Marcia hadn't signed anything. Halfway through a deposition, she slammed her coffee down and said, "Those witches used my name again? I'm calling my own lawyer." That's when we knew the Karen sisters had just nuked their own credibility. And the fallout was coming. 3 days later, we walked into the Charleston County Courthouse with nothing but receipts, and I mean that literally and metaphorically. Our lawyer wheeled in a dolly stacked with labeled evidence binders. Elena had hand-tabbed every single entry. Attendance logs, class footage, email confirmations, even the permits for the gravel on our driveway. She was calm, collected, almost too calm. That's when I realized she wanted this trial. She was going to dismantle them one lie at a time. And Karen? Oh, she showed up like she was walking the Met Gala carpet, white pencil skirt, oversized sunglasses indoors, and a pearl brooch that looked like it cost more than my truck. Donna trailed behind her like a backup singer with stage fright. The moment Judge Watkins entered, I saw a twitch in Karen's cheek. It was the twitch of someone who'd never faced a consequence in her entire iced coffee and gossip life. First witness? Marcia. She walked in like a storm cloud, purse slung over one shoulder, nerves visible, but she didn't flinch when sworn in. "Miss McCarthy," our lawyer asked her gently, "did you sign the sworn affidavit included in Exhibit A?" "No," she said without hesitation. "I didn't even read it. I told Karen I wasn't comfortable getting involved." "Did you give them permission to use your name?" She shook her head. "They told me it was just a letter for the neighborhood board. I had no idea it went to court." Judge Watkins leaned forward, his brow creasing. "So you're telling this court your name was used under oath without consent?" "Yes, Your Honor." Karen actually gasped. Donna looked like she was going to vomit. It only got worse from there. Witness after witness either backtracked or pled the fifth. 2 admitted to signing what Karen said was an HOA petition. 1 even cried, "I didn't know it was a legal document." Then came the footage. Elena played clips from her security cam's audio crystal clear, showing full sessions of her firearm safety class. Everyone was over 21.
No yelling.
No weapons fired. Just calm instruction, safety drills with rubber props, and lots of boring PowerPoints. The cherry on top? A segment from the day the Karens claimed to have heard live fire. On that very afternoon, Elena had been teaching pepper spray technique indoors with a dummy mannequin named Barry. "You're telling me," Judge Watkins asked slowly, That this defendant was teaching self-defense with a mannequin while the plaintiffs claimed she was endangering children with firearms? The silence in that courtroom was delicious. Then came the cross-examination. Karen tried her best though. Bless her delusional heart. She doubled down, said the videos were edited, claimed Elena had threatened her dog, even called Elena's credentials questionable. But you can't bluff someone who's got federal citations in her back pocket. Our lawyer calmly passed Judge Watkins Elena's active instructor credentials, notarized curriculum standards, and emails from the local sheriff's department approving her training zone. The judge raised an eyebrow so high, I swear it nearly touched his robe. Mrs. McCarthy, he said, dead serious. You are dangerously close to contempt of court. Sit down. Karen sat. Finally, quiet for once. Then Judge Watkins delivered the gavel blow that we'll be telling our grandkids about. This court finds the sworn statement submitted by the plaintiffs to be perjurious. Furthermore, it appears Mrs. McCarthy knowingly submitted falsified documents to interfere with the legal rights of the defendant. The case is dismissed with prejudice and perjury charges will be forwarded to the district attorney's office. Boom! That courtroom didn't explode, but it felt like it did. Even the bailiff blinked in surprise. Karen turned to Donna with wide, panicked eyes. Donna? She was already halfway to the back exit. Classic. By the time we walked out, Elena hadn't even broken a sweat. She nodded politely to the court reporter, shook our lawyer's hand, and said, "Thank you. That was fun." I blinked. Fun? That was terrifying. She laughed. Babe, I used to brief at Pentagon level. This was warm-up. But it wasn't over, because the following week we got a call. Apparently, someone had been anonymously mailing HOA financial statements to the city's audit department. And guess whose name showed up on dozens of suspicious contracts? Yep, Karen McCarthy. Turns out, while she was trying to frame my wife for fake firearm threats, she'd been quietly funneling HOA funds through a community beautification fund that just so happened to pay her cousin's landscaping company who never did a single day of work. You can't make this stuff up. Karen was arrested for perjury first. Then came mail fraud. Then HOA embezzlement. Last we heard, she's awaiting trial. Donna? She's laying low, recovering from stress, according to her post on Facebook. And Elena? She got invited to speak at a national women's safety conference. Here's the part that gets me. They came at her thinking she was weak, that because she taught safety instead of combat, she'd be easy to silence. But they forgot Elena doesn't shout. She builds. Quietly, methodically. She doesn't knock down doors. She documents them, files the report, and waits until the system has no choice but to deal with the truth. And let me tell you, when that truth hits, it knocks harder than any bullet ever could. So what do you think? Was justice served? Should HOA board members face federal background checks? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe if you love seeing Karen's crash and burn in full HD justice.